17 years had passed since the world lost Michael Jackson. In that time, countless documentaries had been released, books had been written, and investigators had explored nearly every corner of his extraordinary life. Fans believed there were few secrets left to uncover. Yet, deep beneath a forgotten property connected to his estate, a discovery was about to change everything. The story began when a team of surveyors arrived at an abandoned section of land scheduled for redevelopment. The property had remained untouched for years. Overgrown vegetation covered old pathways, rusted gates stood partially hidden among trees, and several structures had fallen into disrepair. Most people assumed the area contained nothing of significance. During a routine ground scan, technicians noticed an unusual anomaly beneath the soil. At first, they assumed it was an old storage chamber, but the readings suggested something much larger. Several days later, excavation equipment was brought to the site. As workers carefully removed layers of earth, they uncovered a reinforced concrete structure unlike anything shown on historical maps. The structure appeared deliberate, hidden, protected, and completely undocumented. News of the discovery quickly reached state representatives. Within days, security personnel surrounded the location. Archaeologists, engineers, and legal observers were brought in to supervise the operation. No one knew what waited below. Speculation spread rapidly. Some believed it was an old security bunker. Others suggested it might be a storage facility for production equipment. A few wondered whether it contained forgotten archives connected to Michael's creative projects. No one imagined how strange the truth would become. The entrance remained sealed behind a massive steel door. Despite years underground, the locking mechanism appeared remarkably intact. Engineers spent nearly 2 days studying the structure before attempting entry. When the door finally moved, a rush of stale air emerged from the darkness beyond. Flashlights illuminated a descending corridor. The walls appeared untouched. Dust covered every surface. No evidence suggested anyone had entered for years. The team proceeded cautiously. Every step echoed through the tunnel. The deeper they traveled, the more unusual the construction became. This was not an ordinary storage facility. The architecture displayed extraordinary attention to detail. Hidden lighting systems lined the walls. Acoustic panels covered sections of the ceiling. Even after 17 years, the space felt strangely futuristic. At the end of the corridor stood another door. Unlike the first entrance, this one contained a message engraved directly into the metal. The words immediately captured everyone's attention. For the future. No name appeared beneath the inscription. No explanation accompanied it. Only those 3 words. The second door opened into a vast underground chamber. For several moments, nobody spoke. The room was enormous. Rows of shelves stretched into darkness. Storage cases occupied entire sections of the facility. Computer systems lined one wall. Video archives filled another. The chamber looked less like a vault and more like a time capsule, a carefully preserved record of ideas waiting to be rediscovered. As experts began cataloging the contents, they quickly realized the collection was far larger than expected. Thousands of items occupied the vault. Some appeared familiar, others seemed completely unknown. Handwritten notebooks filled dozens of shelves. Design sketches covered large tables. Unreleased concept artwork occupied sealed containers. Everywhere investigators looked, new questions emerged. One notebook attracted immediate attention. The cover contained only a single word, tomorrow. Inside were pages of notes discussing future technology, virtual experiences, audience interaction, and global communication systems. Many of the concepts seemed surprisingly advanced for the period in which they had been written. Some ideas resembled technologies that would not become common until many years later. The researchers exchanged uneasy glances. How had these predictions appeared so accurate? Another section of the vault contained hundreds of labeled videotapes. Most titles were unfamiliar. Several referred to projects that had never been publicly announced. Others contained cryptic names such as Horizon, Echo Room, Future Stage, and Project Lightkeeper. The mysterious titles fueled even greater curiosity. As technicians worked to preserve the aging media, attention shifted toward the center of the chamber. There stood a circular platform surrounded by sealed display cases. Unlike the rest of the vault, this area appeared intentionally designed to draw attention. The platform contained a console. At first glance, it resembled a control station. Yet no one could determine its purpose. Years underground should have rendered the equipment useless. However, when engineers connected temporary power sources, something unexpected happened. Lights flickered across the surface. A screen activated. The room fell silent. For 17 years, the system had remained dormant. Now it was awake. Text slowly appeared across the display. Welcome to the archive. Investigators stared at the screen. The message continued. If you are reading this, the future has arrived. No one moved, no one spoke. The words felt strangely personal, as though the message had been waiting specifically for this moment. Additional text appeared. The purpose of this vault is not to preserve the past. It is to prepare for what comes next. A chill spread through the chamber. What exactly was this place? Why had it been hidden? And who was the message intended for? Over the following weeks, experts continued exploring the archive. Every discovery deepened the mystery. Some notebooks contained detailed concepts for immersive entertainment experiences decades ahead of their time. Others discussed education, communication, and global collaboration. One recurring theme appeared again and again: the future would belong to imagination. Researchers began noticing symbols repeated throughout the vault. The same symbol appeared on notebooks, on storage cases, on digital files, even on the walls themselves. At first, the markings seemed decorative. Then, a data analyst discovered something remarkable. The symbols formed a pattern, a code. When arranged correctly, they revealed coordinates. The coordinates pointed to another location, hundreds of miles away. Suddenly, the underground vault became more than a forgotten archive. It became the first piece of a much larger puzzle. As preparations began for an expedition to investigate the coordinates, one final discovery stopped everyone in their tracks. Hidden inside a sealed compartment beneath the central console rested a small black box. No labels, no markings, only a single envelope attached to the lid. With trembling hands, the lead investigator opened it. Inside was a handwritten note. The message consisted of only one sentence: "If you found this vault, then you are ready for the next secret." The room became completely silent, because everyone understood the same thing at exactly the same moment. The underground vault was never meant to be the final discovery. It was only the beginning. The discovery of the handwritten note changed the atmosphere inside the underground vault immediately. Until that moment, investigators believed they had uncovered the final hidden chapter of a forgotten archive. The vast collection of notebooks, recordings, design sketches, and mysterious technological concepts already seemed extraordinary enough. Yet the message inside the envelope suggested something entirely different. The vault was not the destination. It was only the first step in a much larger journey. The black box became the center of attention. For several hours, no one attempted to open it. Researchers carefully documented every detail before proceeding. High-resolution photographs were taken, measurements were recorded, material samples were analyzed. The team wanted to avoid damaging anything that might contain valuable information. Finally, after completing the necessary documentation, the box was opened. Inside lay a collection of objects unlike anything anyone expected. There were several data storage devices, a series of handwritten journals, a sealed metal cylinder, and a folded map. At first glance, none of the items appeared remarkable. But when the map was unfolded, the room fell silent. The document displayed a network of locations spread across multiple regions. Each site was marked with the same mysterious symbol that appeared throughout the underground vault. Some locations were near major cities. Others were positioned in remote areas far from public attention. The implication was obvious. The underground vault was not an isolated facility. It appeared to be part of a larger network, a network that had remained hidden for nearly 2 decades. Researchers immediately began comparing the coordinates against public records. Most locations revealed nothing unusual. A few corresponded to abandoned warehouses. Others matched unused industrial properties. Several appeared completely empty. Yet every location shared one characteristic. Very little information existed about their histories. The mystery deepened further when technicians examined the data storage devices found inside the box. Years underground had damaged some files. Others remained inaccessible due to encryption. After several days of work, specialists finally recovered a portion of the contents. The first recovered file contained a title, Project Legacy. The name appeared repeatedly throughout the archive. Yet no explanation accompanied it, only a short introductory statement. The future is built long before it arrives. Investigators continued searching. Additional files gradually became available. Many contained concept drawings and development plans. Others consisted of recorded discussions involving unidentified participants. The conversations focused on creativity, technology, education, and global communication. The speakers discussed future generations as though they were planning decades ahead. One recording attracted particular attention. A voice explained that most people spend their lives reacting to the future instead of preparing for it. The speaker argued that imagination should be treated as a resource, something capable of shaping society itself. Researchers could not confirm the identities of everyone involved. However, the themes closely matched ideas discovered throughout the underground vault. The same concepts appeared again and again: innovation, curiosity, participation, the future. As analysis continued, attention returned to the folded map. One location stood out from the others. Unlike those remaining sites, it was circled several times. A handwritten note appeared beside it: "Start here." The site was located hundreds of miles away near an isolated mountain range. Historical records indicated that a research facility once occupied the area before being abandoned years earlier. No further information could be found. Within days, an expedition was organized. The journey required traveling through remote terrain far from major population centers. By the time the team arrived, evening shadows stretched across the landscape. The facility appeared exactly as expected. Weathered buildings stood partially hidden among rocky hills. Broken fences surrounded the property. Years of neglect had transformed the site into little more than ruins. At least that was what everyone assumed. Then Daniel noticed something unusual, a symbol, the same symbol from the underground vault. It had been carved into a stone marker near the entrance. Excitement spread through the group. The map had led them to the correct location. The question now was what they were supposed to find. Hours passed as researchers explored the property. Most structures contained nothing of interest. Empty rooms, damaged equipment, collapsed storage areas. The site appeared abandoned. Then Emily discovered a concealed hatch beneath a layer of debris. Unlike the surrounding structures, the hatch appeared remarkably well preserved, almost as though someone expected it to be found eventually. The team carefully opened it. A narrow staircase descended into darkness. The similarities to the underground vault were impossible to ignore. So once again, the researchers found themselves entering a hidden space buried beneath the surface. The chamber below was much smaller than the original vault, yet it contained something equally intriguing. Rows of cabinets lined the walls. Each cabinet contained folders, thousands of folders. Every folder bore a year, beginning decades in the past and extending far into the future. The researchers stared in disbelief. The collection resembled a timeline, a detailed record of ideas, predictions, and development plans spanning generations. Daniel opened one folder at random. Inside were newspaper clippings, technological forecasts, cultural observations, and handwritten notes discussing possible future trends. Many predictions had already come true. Others remained uncertain. The level of detail was astonishing. Whoever assembled the archive had spent years studying how society evolves. Another folder contained conceptual sketches remarkably similar to technologies now used worldwide. Interactive media, virtual environments, portable communication devices, immersive experiences. Many concepts had been documented years before becoming common reality. The discoveries raised an unsettling possibility. What if the creators of Project Legacy were not simply imagining the future? What if they were attempting to influence it? The idea seemed impossible. Yet evidence continued accumulating. Every document pointed toward long-term planning, long-term observation, long-term preparation. As midnight approached, Emily discovered a locked cabinet positioned separately from the others. Unlike the remaining containers, this one required a code. Researchers immediately recognized the sequence engraved beside the lock. It matched symbols previously discovered inside the underground vault. After several attempts, the cabinet opened. Inside rested a single journal. Nothing else. The cover displayed only one phrase, 17 years later. The title immediately captured everyone's attention. With extraordinary care, Emily opened the journal. The first page contained a message. If this journal has been opened, then the timeline remains intact. No names appeared, no signatures. Only those words. Page after page contained observations regarding future events. Some entries described technological advancements. Others focused on social change. Several discussed creative industries. Many predictions had already occurred. Some had not. The accuracy was disturbing. Yet one section stood apart from everything else. A chapter near the end referenced the underground vault directly. According to the journal, the vault was designed to remain hidden until a specific period. Not because it contained secrets, because society itself needed time to reach a point where the information could be understood. The researchers read the passage repeatedly. The implication was profound. The creators believed their ideas would seem impossible if discovered too early. Only future generations would possess the context necessary to interpret them correctly. As dawn approached, Daniel reached the final pages. There he found another map, another set of coordinates, another hidden destination. Beside the coordinates appeared a sentence. The archive is larger than you know. Everyone exchanged nervous glances. They had already discovered an underground vault, a hidden facility, a timeline archive, thousands of documents. Yet the journal suggested additional locations still existed. The scale of the project suddenly appeared far greater than anyone imagined. The original mystery surrounding the underground vault had evolved into something much larger, a network, a vision, a carefully constructed legacy designed to survive decades. As the team prepared to leave the mountain facility, Emily looked back toward the chamber one final time. The rows of cabinets seemed to stretch endlessly into the shadows. Each contained another piece of the story, another clue, another fragment of a puzzle that remained incomplete. And somewhere beyond the next set of coordinates, another secret waited, a secret hidden for 17 years, a secret that was only now beginning to emerge. The deeper the researchers traveled into the mystery, the more they realized one undeniable truth. They had not reached the end of the story. They had only uncovered the first layer, and whatever awaited them at the next location might finally reveal why the underground vault had been hidden for so long.